Now, color always has a moment within MIIEN Consultancy and Mikara Reid, but for spring summer 2026, I'm gonna help you create some colorful moments. Now, how I'm gonna do that? I created some really cool color palettes so that you don't have to do it. Whether you're refreshing, you're rebranding, experimenting with your wardrobe, these palettes are going to make things a little bit more easier for your next decision. So how about we get into how to pair colors that you're actually going to wear for spring summer 2026. Now, if you are not afraid to be seen, we're going to be starting off with the color yellow, this lemonade type of yellow, and we're going to be using this for an example. But if you are someone who likes to wear yellow, which yellow is warm, inviting, optimistic, open, baby, let's get into the palette. So here we have it, yellow. As I mentioned, I wanted to point out the name of the color, the key color. If you haven't checked out the previous video of me talking about approaches on how to start wearing it, it's very important to know what your key color. So let's get into my first palette for yellow. I wanted to start off with a color that is for my conservative type of girls, because there are a lot more conservative type of girls than our fashion forward type of girls. Fashion forward type of girls, you do like to look at the image, but you know, the fashion. I don't want to say just image, but just the state of fashion. But here is my first combination with this. This accent color is called Dusky Orange. It's given like a fall type of orange, but depending on your skin tone, this accent color can really, really look amazing on you. So for this color combination, if you are a lighter, this orange is really going to sit very well on your skin. For me, I would definitely bring out a lot more of the yellow, because I want the yellow to kind of just really just illuminate on my skin and have this very, very minimal, because this is kind of just honestly close enough to my skin. This looks kind of like my concealer type of skin color. But this is palette 1. This is dedicated to my girls who are more on the conservative side. Let's go on to our second palette that I created for this color. Now, for this one, I wanted to dedicate this to my fashion forward type of girls who like to kind of just play around with a lot of color. I like to give equal amount of space to both type of parties, but here is the second type of color, which I really, really love with this yellow. Yellow and pink is very, very, they're just so playful together, depending on how saturated or how light it is. But because this yellow is just so bright and kind of just in your face and just, hey, I'm here, I did not want to pair this with a very light pink and kind of wash out this yellow. This shade of pink is well saturated. It's kind of much more on the deeper side, warmer side. It pairs very, very well. And depending on how you want to kind of flip-flop it, maybe you want to make this the key color and then this the accent color, or there's just so much ways you can play around with this. And also you can throw in a nice third color if you're very playful with it. All right, so definitely check this out. Let's go on to our next color. Now let's get into our next color, which is this beautiful shade of blue. I want to say it's like a cobalt blue, but I've been researching, and so is my assistant, and we found it was this type of blue. So I'm going to call it its correct type of name. So if you are unaware of what blue exudes, if you're a blue wearer, if you're unaware of what the non-verbal cues, if you don't know what non-verbal cues, definitely go check out our YouTube shorts. But this shade of blue, well, blue in general, just definitely exudes authority, power, your control type of energy. If you are feeling it and this is what you're trying to do, let's get into our first color palette. Now, Here is a shade of green. I immediately thought about green when I said, when I picked the key colors, I say, yeah, I think that green will look so good with this shade of blue. And it was definitely like a nice little lime green. I definitely wanted to have a nice balance because blue is definitely on the cooler side. I wanted to pick a green that had a hint that was more on the warmer side, because if you're familiar with color theory, you know that green is also a cool color depending on the saturation and how dark it is. But this shade of green kind of gives it that lemon lime type of direction. I'm kind of trying to give you guys a direction of where I was going with it. So this shade of green is definitely more on the warmer side, and it gives it a great balance between each other. I'm really feeling it. I love it. This is honestly something I would wear. I would more so have the green as my base. As my key, and then this blue would be accented, and then I would throw in a nice magenta or a red. That is me kind of just give it a nice sandwich. So let's go to palette number 2 for this shade of blue. Now this gorgeous color. This color is called tomato. It's like a reddish orange. When I was looking at like the hex code, it definitely is, but if you're just kind of just looking at it like you are now, it just looks like orange. But this is beautiful together. I love this, even though the green that I previously just provided for you guys is palette number 1 for the blue was a bit on the warmer side, even though green is naturally a cool color. I said, well, we need to really throw in a true warm color, and this is the selection that I have given for you. So if you definitely want to show up and show out, baby, this is the combination for you. So let's go into our final key color that I selected for you to start wearing for the spring summer 2026. And here we are, this beautiful crimson red. Red is honestly the all-around type of color. I don't know why they keep saying this is like the it color, but red is always the color, especially if you are someone who is a lipstick wearer. So this is the color. Let's get into the color palettes. Automatically, straight off the gate, when I picked this shade of red, I said, it's gonna be a nice like denim sky blue type of feel. This red, even though red naturally is a warm color, this shade of red is honestly on the cooler side. So I say, you know what? Let's really play around with a nice shade of blue. And here we are with this beautiful fashion sky blue type of feel. I think it really balances out because this shade of red is more on the cooler side of the spectrum. It just really, these two shades really complement each other. Let's go on to our you ready for the second one? Because the second one, I was like, gotta play around with it. Let's get into it. Bam. I really love green and red together. I know green and red automatically everybody thinks of Christmas, but this vibrant blue green with this red, baby, you want to step into a room and really show up and show out. Here we are. If you want to tone it down, I would tone it down with not black. I would tone it down with a very dark chocolate brown. If you're really into just colors and kind of just just making everything just harmonious, yes, crimson red, vibrant blue green, and a nice chocolate brown. So that is how you pair yellow, blue, red together based off my curation. I really have fun with a lot of color combinations. It's something I'm very, very notable for. So if you want to see a little bit more toned down, or you want to see more of this, definitely follow us on Pinterest. Pinterest is definitely where the action is for MIIEN Consultancy. You will see a whole board dedicated to color combinations. Now I want you to tell me, which of these key colors will be your signature color this season, and which color combination you trying out? Drop it down below in the comments, okay?